'cause everybody hurts.
Welcome once again to the Sports by Schmucks podcast. It's the Jack Bauer edition of it. Do you know why, Sean?
Because it's 24 and he comes back tonight.
Well, mainly just because it's number 24.
Shut up, because it's coming back tonight.
Yes, we're recording this Monday night after the devastating loss to us Raptor fans in Game 7 of the first round of the Eastern Conference NBA playoffs. So we're going to start there because that's the biggest story for us right now.
Do we have to start off with something so negative and depressing?
Well, that brings me to my first question. Sean, how did you dry your tears?
Luckily, or just not luckily, I was fortunate enough to be working and missed most of the game. Luckily, I went out lunch with 15 seconds left to go in the game, so I saw the crushing ending. So that was a shitty way to kind of end the day there.
Well, before you continue, now you can't play this podcast at work because you just said shitty.
That's not cursing. We have
it's technically cursing because they don't allow it on basic cable.
Well, they say ass at work in songs. And the final
bit. But that's not shitty. There's a hierarchy of cursing, and shitty is on a level just
really,
below
ass is probably higher than shitty on the list of
I don't think so.
Words.
I don't think so. I think shitty is a bit more obscene than ass.
What if you say that's a shitty thing that happened to you? That's not very offensive at all.
No, but
you're an ass.
It's not offensive. It's not offensive, but there's still the connotation of shitty being a curse word more than asses.
I'm gonna have to disagree there. But
okay,
back to where we were going.
We'll agree to disagree on that curse word.
There you go. But how I drew my tears.
I was just going with basic rules. I was going with basic rules of censorship. So, anyway, sorry. What was that? I talked over you.
Yeah, apparently. I cried into my Jamaican patties I was eating for lunch.
Okay.
They were delicious, by the way.
Oh, I'm glad you had a delicious lunch yesterday. That would have been closer to 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, pretty much lunch, dinner. Yeah, it was both 4.
Yeah. Well, I just sat paralyzed on my couch.
Texting me and
just
shock and disbelief and anger.
Yeah, pretty much. I was fairly just kind of looking at the TV but not watching it, if you know what I mean. Just
eyes blinking out, world crumbling around you.
Yeah, pretty much. And my phone was
blowing up.
Not, I wouldn't say blowing up, but a couple people were texting me, and they're like, "Oh," and I was just like, "I know." Yeah. It was and that will bring us to a question later in the podcast. But
which question? Because I usually ruin these questions.
It's going to be what hurts, the bigger degree of hurt.
Oh yes.
Or we could talk about that right now.
Let's just talk about it right now. So
okay.
We just kind of segued into it.
So. The Raptors, of course, they were down. I think at the most part was 12 at a point in the fourth quarter. They brought it all the way back and fell at the buzzer. And it was great defense by Paul Pierce to get up there and block that shot. Absolutely clean block. So, good, nice defense by Pierce.
Yeah. I wanted a foul, but
well, you weren't going to get a foul in that situation regardless, and B, there was no foul to be given. So. I'm saying that either way. If the Raptors fouled the Nets, they wouldn't have called a foul, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So what hurts more in the end? Coming back, but falling just short of it when you have a chance, you have the last shot, or a huge collapse where you're up, say in basketball 25 and you lose the game. What's
coming back and falling short?
Coming back and falling short?
Because you give hope. You got everyone down, okay, it's over. Then all of a sudden you come back, everyone's lit. It's yeah, we got this. And you're coming back, you have that good feeling. And then you just come short. It's just such a letdown.
See, I'm on the other way.
Really?
I'm on the other side. And I'll tell you why. It mainly comes from experience last year. During the Leafs collapse.
Ugh.
And you can say once it started you could feel it coming, but in that situation, in the winner takes all, when they go up 4-1, it's hard to not get your mind set on the second round.
Yeah.
And thinking about, okay, well, we could, we're going to be playing this team, and we've had fairly good success against this team. Why can't we beat this team next time, or in the playoffs? So And then it's just letting like the air out of a balloon.
Yeah.
And just slowly, you're just deflated and deflated and deflated.
Either way, it's a crap way to lose.
Yeah, they both, hands down, they both suck.
But let's just kind of sum up the Raptors season. The Raptors are supposed to be competing for Andrew Wiggins. And now we push Brooklyn, a team that's way, way over the salary cap, to within 1 point of facing the former champions, or last year's champions. Not bad.
Defending two-time champions.
That's not bad.
My one point against that would be, prior to the season, a lot of people thought they would be contending for an 8 seed.
You could go either way.
But once they got off to such a bad start, that's when the tanking talk started to become more prevalent.
Yeah.
And when they traded Rudy Gay, that's what they thought. That's what they thought they were doing. They thought, okay, well, Rudy's getting traded, they're done.
Save some salary. Yeah.
They're gonna play out the season, keep going low, and try to get a shot at the top 3.
Andrew Wiggins,
Jabari Parker, or Embiid. One of those 3 guys. But to come all the way up and finish 3rd in the conference and win the division, in which everyone thought either New York or the Nets were going to run away with, I mean, you got to look at some silver linings. That's fantastic for the Raptors.
Yeah.
I mean, Jonas, you saw a lot of development from Jonas, from Valanciunas.
Yep.
Lowry emerged as the leader of the team.
DeRozan becomes an all-star. Yeah.
We should have had 2 all-stars.
Take one, be happy about that for now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying, Joe Johnson showed why he was an all-star in this series.
Yeah.
But up to that point in the season, he wasn't an all-star.
No, he was struggling.
That's my opinion.
Not struggling, but could have been much, much better.
He just wasn't. Yeah. And maybe that's why the Nets were struggling so much earlier in the season. They weren't getting contributions from their 3rd all-star. That was Joe Johnson, and Deron Williams was always hurt. But I mean, the way, and DeRozan, now everybody on that roster has playoff experience. Your big guys, your stars, your go-to players have playoff experience.
Now it's just a question of whether they can re-sign Lowry and Vasquez, because Vasquez, when he came over, was a big part of this team.
He was a huge part coming off the bench. Both of them have said they love being in Toronto.
Yeah. Of all players, I hope even over Lowry, I hope we sign Gears Vasquez. I just love him. He's so awesome.
Well, see, Vasquez is the interesting case, because he said that he likes being in Toronto, but he also says he wants to be a starter.
Yeah.
He thinks he's good enough to be a starter, and you know what, he has started on teams before, and he's been a solid contributing to a starting 5. But Lowry was just kind of the heart and soul of that team in the playoffs. The games they won, he was the best player on the court. Yep. So, it'll be very interesting to see what they do with Lowry. I mean, him and DeRozan are apparently really good buds now. So
I think they they back the Brinks truck into his house. There's no way he can leave. They cannot let him leave.
Well, how much are you willing to pay him?
How much does he want? That's how much I'm willing to give him.
Really? You'd give him a blank check?
I wouldn't give him LeBron number, but
well, then
what's max salary?
Something stupid.
Yeah, it's like $100 million or something like that, right?
I think it's 130 over 5.
I'd give him 80 over 5.
You'd give him quick math.
No, it's like 16, 17.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
What would you do?
Well, that's DeRozan's getting 10. Remember?
Yeah.
So you're gonna give him almost double DeRozan money.
Yes.
And you're comfortable with that, with the thought that you need to still upgrade positions, and eventually we'll have to re-sign Jonas, and you'll have to re-sign Terrence Ross, if you see Terrence Ross as a future part of the team.
I do.
Okay, so you have the money for him, and if you want to keep Vasquez, he's gonna want more money than probably what he's going to get now. He's going to probably want to maybe $2 or $3 million.
Yeah.
And then it showed in the series that they don't have anyone who can guard a 6'7" scorer.
I know.
So how are you going to fill that need?
You gotta try. You gotta find someone off the bench. You gotta go cheap. But what are you gonna do? You're not gonna resign Lowry?
I'm not saying I'm not going to resign Lowry. I just don't want to pay him $17 million. I think there's better ways to spend. I don't want to say there's better ways to spend the money, but I think Ujiri will think, okay, well I can't.
Well, I know he's
reasonably
getting
give him that
at
much
17
money.
million. He'll probably get closer to like 13. But like he's gonna get paid.
Oh no, I'm not saying he's not going to get paid. I agree with you in that sense. I just think 17 is way too high, and if he signs for 17, it's going to be a bad deal.
Still better than Dion Phaneuf, but
Let's not talk about the Leafs anymore in this podcast.
No, I'd be comfortable with like 13 to 15.
13 to 15? Okay.
13 to 15. I said 17 just like a ballpark, like just like throwing it out there. But 13 to 15, I'm fine with. Don't forget, DeRozan they resigned early enough before he like was announced in the All-Star game, but after
he signed 2 years before he was on an All-Star team.
But Lowry, like, he played it right. He's gonna get his money for agency. I don't think he even gets there, but he earned his money.
I'm not saying he didn't earn his money. I'm not disagreeing you with that at all.
No, I know what you mean. So
I'm just worried that if you do a deal like that, and it's not a question about Kyle Lowry because he's going to give you what he gives you, and he's shown what you can give him or what he can give you.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about how they'd construct the roster around him for that much money.
Yeah, true. But you got to remember, Rodgers is richer than every single owner in the league.
Yeah, but
Rodgers and Bell.
So
they can't go into the luxury.
But will they? That's the question. They haven't had a history of doing it.
Like, what's the salary cap in the NBA? 65?
I'm not 100% sure.
I think it's like 65, 70. You can Google that. But could you see Toronto going 90 million?
No.
80, I could.
Well, before we start talking,
I'm not going to go into like the Nets terms, like 140 million. But
no, I agree with you in that sense. It's 71. Salary cap will be 58.679, and the luxury tax limit has been raised to 71.748 million. So you can go over the cap, but once you get over 70 million, you're paying luxury tax.
Yeah. What's the Raptors could usually do?
I'm just questioning because we've seen how they've kind of been able how Rodgers was holding the purse strings pretty closely with the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
It's hard to see them just deciding all of a sudden to open them up for the Raptors.
Yeah, but at least the Raptors had success, unlike the Jays.
But it's been 1 year of success. With essentially the same team last year, they missed the playoffs. They started out just as poorly.
Well, we'll see. You never know where the offseason is going to go. They have a lot of key signings.
They do. So let's talk about the series now. We've kind of talked about the future of the Raptors a bit. What's your biggest takeaway from the series?
Which series?
The Raptors-Nets series.
Brooklyn is going to struggle against the Heat. I possibly think 5 games to be out.
Well, I have 5. I have 5 written down as well, but
coming out of the Raptors game, Pierce and Garnett are getting kind of older.
Yeah.
And it's kind of showing now.
Yeah.
You said his name earlier, the shooting guard.
Joe Johnson.
Thank you.
I don't think I'll ever forget that name anymore.
Unfortunately, I didn't see him crushing us. So.
No, you should be fortunate you didn't see it.
I know. Like
they had
him and John
Patterson.
Williams, like Patrick Patterson. That was a good trade for us getting him.
No, but I mean they had him guarding.
I know that's a bad matchup.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think the Nets are good enough for the money they're paying to move past like the Heat. The Raptors have a young future. I know I'm a little biased, but at least they have that future talent where they can move on. Brooklyn, they have to beat Miami this year. They don't have any other choice.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the Raptors pushed them, and the fact they're older, that's not going to. The Nets are just Miami's just going to run over them.
Yeah, I think the Nets, in their quest to get past the Raptors, spent a lot more energy than they thought they would have to.
Yeah.
And like you said, in the long run of this season, that's gonna definitely hurt them in this playoff series against the. Okay, I think if they maybe finish the Raptors off in 6, then maybe they take them to Game 6 or Game 7, just because you have extra time to rest Pierce, you have extra time to rest KG, and you saw how much KG played in that final game compared to the rest of the series. He like doubled his minutes. It felt like. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tired Nets team against a fresh Miami team who hasn't played in like a week and a half. LeBron is LeBron. Wade hasn't played a game in like 2 weeks. It feels like, and Bosch. You know what you're going to get from Bosch, and you have the bodies that are able to guard Joe Johnson and Paul Pierce on the Nets, on the Heat, I should say.
Yeah.
So go back into the Raptors and Nets series. What would you say about fouls?
Oh, I'm not getting started on this.
Why not?
I wouldn't want to say the calls for the Raptors were terrible, but the calls that entire series for both teams were just horrendous.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because it wasn't like the Raptors did get some bad calls, but there's a lot of calls that could have gone both ways for the Nets as well. There's only one real game where the Nets had a distinct advantage in fouls called, and that was in Game 6. The Raptors had 25 fouls called against them, and the Nets had 14.
Yeah.
Even in that Game 1 where where everyone complained that the Nets, in Game 1, the Raptors had 20. I think that's just 3 in my writing, 23, and then the Nets had 19 fouls, but they had no fouls called against them in the fourth quarter,
which was huge to kill the Raptors.
Yes, I mean that is.
And
it's very hard.
KG, his veteran savvy, he was abusing Jonas and getting away with it.
He was. He knows how to, and it bugs the hell out of me about KG, but I also respect the hell out of it, because he knows what he can and can't get away with in the playoffs, and that's something that Jonas is going to learn too after this year, of what he can do in the playoffs and what he can't do with his body.
Yep.
I wrote some stuff down, some points for the series. In Game 7 especially, there's no secondary rebounding. Like once Amir Johnson, pardon?
Which game?
In Game 7 especially, there's no secondary rebounding. Like once Amir Johnson fouled out, and when he was not playing, the Raptors had a terrible time rebounding the ball. I mean, they had the initial box out down low, but there's so many shots that went over the heads of the.
And it's like
And nobody collapsed on the ball. The point, like the guards or the forwards are already breaking away. I mean, you can't, especially in a Game 7, you can't do that. I know you guys want to get out and run on the Nets, but you can't do that in a Game 7, where the last 2 games you've had troubles rebounding. You got to make sure you get those rebounds, because it's just giving the Nets obviously second chances. And with Joe Johnson playing the way he was,
lights out.
You're lucky if he misses the one shot.
Yeah.
Secondly, Valanciunas needed to stay on the court, because in the first couple of games he was killing KG. He was just abusing him. Like double doubles, big point totals. But then once he started getting into foul trouble, and he was off the floor, he lost his confidence and everything went bad.
Yep. That's just veteran breaking the rookie down mentally.
Yeah, and then my third point is, what the hell happened to Terrence Ross?
Oh, playoff jitters.
Well, I can see playoff jitters in the first round, in the first game. He was 14 of 47 for the series, so 29, just under a shade under 30%.
Yeah, he did not play well. Even defensively, he was
all right.
Okay, yeah.
Like in the later games, he was all right. He figured out what he can't. Like I said, he figured out what was a foul and what wasn't a foul in the playoffs. He was also only made 3 3-pointers the entire series.
Brutal.
And only scored in double digits once, and that was in Game 7.
Double brutal.
And there was a couple times in Game 7 where he had wide open threes.
Yeah.
And he missed them.
Yeah.
And there was a point where Raptors were down 6. They worked the ball around beautifully. He had a wide open 3 from the elbow 3-point area, and just clanked it, and the building just kind of went, oh, and it had a huge collective sigh, and it was just kind of disheartening to see that. So it was tough. It was tough for Terrence Ross. Like, I feel for him. He's obviously a better player than what he did, because you know what? Like, you gotta. He helped get them there.
Yeah, he was young. He'll grow. It'll be fine.
I just think they're in the offseason. They need to get a defender who can guard like a
Charles
three.
Oakley type presence.
Not necessarily Charles Oakley type presence, but a guy who can guard somebody on the wing, like like someone who can guard a Joe Johnson, because
wasn't Landry Fields supposed to be that? Oh, not really. He's just forward.
But see, with him, you lose so much offensively.
Yeah.
And another thing, what the hell? Okay, I'm going to trust Dwayne Casey on this. I'm not going to knock him or anything like that. But what did Hansbrough do to get out of the rotation and made it so apparent that Chuck Hayes was the better choice?
Yeah,
Chuck Hayes was brutal.
He's not physical. He's not big. Like, why is he even on this team?
He was
veteran presence.
He did get rebounds, but Hansbrough got rebounds. Hansbrough at least had some offensive upside. I don't know how many layups in tight Chuck Hayes missed.
When your name's Psycho T, you want that guy out there instead of Chuck Hayes.
I mean, like, it was miraculous, the shot that he made, but I think it was in Game 5. But like, I don't understand it, and there has to be some reason that Hansbrough didn't play, because I would rather, like, personally, I would rather have seen Hansbrough out there than Chuck Hayes. And it's not like Hansbrough is inexperienced in the playoffs. He had those runs with the Pacers.
Yeah. And
he played in those games. So I don't know what was up with them not playing Psycho T.
You know my feelings for Psycho T. I don't know why they didn't play him.
Pardon?
So I don't know why they didn't play Psycho T. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, they need, like, they were only playing like 7 or 8 guys in those. The Nets had the luxury of a better bench or a deeper bench where you could throw guys out.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think I've vented enough about the Raptors, and I think I feel better now. I think I needed that. I definitely needed that.
So we're moving on then?
Yeah, I think so. Are you, like, do you feel good now? Like, are you, like, not
I
good,
I was never really raving.
Okay. Because I feel I feel a bit better. I feel a bit better. So we'll go to the rest of the NBA playoffs, because apparently there's other games. Who would have thunk it? Oklahoma just snuck by Memphis. Portland.
I almost called that one.
You did, and I believe I said Oklahoma City in 7. I don't remember. You'd have to check the tape.
No, I thought they'd be upset. I thought Memphis had them. Like, oh.
I know. I'm just saying. I think I called it right.
Yeah.
We've got Portland and San Antonio, and Portland did a number on Houston, which I wasn't expecting. Miami against the Nets, and we already kind of talked about that. Yep. And then the surprising Washington Wizards taking on the falling Indiana Pacers. So, and OKC is taking on the Clippers, who are still kind of reeling maybe from the Donald Sterling saga. What is your series to watch this round?
Is that even a question? It's got to be OKC Clippers.
Yeah, okay. Well, it is a question, but...
Well, the only other, like, Pacers, Washington, does it excite most people? No. Let's be honest.
It excites me because I want to see...
You're just a fan, though. Like, you're like a casual fan. Are you like, oh my god, Washington, Indiana's on? Not really.
True.
Let's be honest.
If you're a casual fan, then you're going to watch Brooklyn, Miami.
Exactly. Well, that's what's giving me my other one.
Just because of the name recognition.
Well, West Coast can watch Clippers, OKC, Brooklyn, Miami's the big one over here. But that Portland, like, San Antonio one, it's like another one of those things that's just like under the radar teams that no one's gonna really pay attention to, and then they're gonna show up and put on a show. They're not flashy teams. Well, Portland is, but
it's funny because Portland had such a good start to the season, and then they kind of fell back to earth. Yeah, and we saw Dame killed the Rockets.
Yeah.
In Game 6 with that 3. It was just because I had the Rockets going on, and Portland surprised me. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you showed, like, I thought Beverly would be able to contain Lillard, and obviously he didn't. And Aldridge was better than Dwight, and Harden disappeared. So the beard was shaved, it seemed, in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was terrible. But no, OKC. So I think Portland. I have Portland in 7 in that series. I'm on the Portland bandwagon now.
I'm on San Antonio still.
Okay. I've got OK. I've got. Well, I'm still on the Thunder because I got them in 7 over the Clippers.
I didn't think Clippers would be. Sorry, I didn't think Oklahoma would be here, so I gotta readjust. Clip in 6.
Okay. And if they go 7, I don't think the Clippers will win.
No.
I don't think they'll be able to win a Game 7 in Oklahoma City.
No.
And it'll be interesting to see because all the rumors are saying that essentially reported that Kevin Durant's going to win the MVP, deserved MVP. But it'll be interesting to see when they award it to him.
Whether it's after the season or
no, whether it's Game 1, 2,
yeah.
or if they hold it off for a Game 5.
Probably 2.
We'll see. Yeah, that's just a little storyline because you have to think there's going to be a little bit of fire and especially some fire in that game for KD when he gets his award.
Yeah.
And especially with the crowd being all over it. What do you think about the newspaper in Oklahoma City calling him Mr. Unreliable in Game 6?
That was stupid. When I heard that on part of the interruption, I was just like, I didn't get it. Like, how is this guy unreliable?
He struggled that series.
Yeah, it happened.
But still, struggling for Durant, still getting like 20 points a game.
Exactly. Struggling, still being better in front of your team is still... it didn't make sense to me. Like, why would you write that? It's just ignorant. The
best part about it was on Twitter. It blew up on Twitter, and it's known, or it's I wouldn't say widely known, but it's known that Kevin Durant's favorite team growing up was the Raptors.
Yeah.
So all the KD come to the Raptors speculation was kind of funny.
Oh my God! Don't even. My heart couldn't take that.
We're doing Miami in 5. We both agreed to that.
Yeah.
I've got Washington in 6.
I don't want to pick Washington. I don't know why. I want the Pacers to move on. I like the Pacers. But
even with the way they've been playing, they barely got by Atlanta.
I know they barely got by Atlanta, but Atlanta. I'm going to go Pacers 7.
And Atlanta had that chance to win.
I know.
In Game 6, and they threw the ball away. Well, they threw the game away. They're up, I think, 6 with less than 5 minutes to go.
I'm going Pacers.
I think it's going to be a similar thing, like you said, with the Clippers going 6. That
if Clip wins 6, then if Washington wins 6,
Washington has to.
If it goes 7, Indiana wins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just because I could be wrong, and it's not that I want to be wrong. It's just that I think it's awfully. We saw how well Indiana played in that Game 7 against Atlanta. I don't know if it was Atlanta just kind of fell back down to earth, or if it was Indiana, going back up to where they were at the beginning of the season. But Washington looked really good, and then they controlled the paint very well against Chicago, against the Defensive Player of the Year in Joakim Noah. So I'm leaning towards Washington in that game, in that series. But like I said, if it goes 7, Game 7 in Indiana, that's going to be a very tough game to win. So Washington better wrap it up in 6. That kind of wraps up our NBA talk. I mean, we focused a lot on the Raptors, but that's what we care about. So tough. And if you guys want to tell us something to talk about, hit us up on Twitter, or hit us up on YouTube in the comment section. That's how you get
the guys.
Pardon? Pressure's on you guys.
Guys.
Exactly. Pressure's on you guys. So, do you want to talk about the NHL playoffs a bit?
Sure, why not?
That's as good a reason as any. So, what? I don't really have anything prepared for this.
I could say a couple words.
Yeah. Okay. So, best series in this playoffs, or in this series, in this round. What do you think it's going to be?
It's got to be Boston.
Yeah?
Habs.
Okay.
The only one I see. I'm looking at Anaheim, LA too, because that's a damn good series.
See, that's the one I'm leaning to.
I'll never be able to watch it because it's.
Well, that's nice being in Central Time.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm in Mountain Time now.
You're in some kind of time that's not Eastern.
Well, I switch between Central and Mountain because depending on if it's whether you guys are in daylight saving times or not, because we don't switch out here. But I'm leaning more towards Anaheim, LA, because I think that series will go longer.
Probably 7.
I can see that going 7. I don't see Montreal, Boston going 7.
Probably 6.
If that, I think Boston now is. I think it could do 5.
No, not a chance.
I think it could.
I'll bet you a beer next time I see you that doesn't happen.
Okay, by December you'll forget.
I'm gonna write this down.
Well, I never bet, so that was never on the record.
Back out of that. You think Chicago just pretty much sweeps Manny? Or do you think it's 5?
I think it'll be 5. I think Minnesota will get a buzz from the crowd at home.
Yeah.
But the difference between Chicago and between this series and last series, Chicago so much playoff experience.
Yeah.
That they won't falter like Colorado did.
Yeah. Colorado just need that 1 year of get in, get the experience, get knocked out, come back next year stronger.
Right, and it didn't help that they didn't have Duchesne for most of the series, and probably when he came back, he was probably not near 100%.
No, not even close.
It might have been more worth it to have him stay out and get a 100
next year.
Well, yeah, and not even that, but
or they made it through.
Get 100%, get a body that's 100% in the lineup. I mean that's second guessing hindsight, what have you. And when you have a player like Duchesne, who is on the Olympic team, you need to have him out there. Yeah, but that's just hindsight.
So and then the other Boston Montreal is going 5 then.
I think it could go 5. I can see.
Gonna go 5.
I can see. It probably won't, but I could see Boston going into Montreal and winning 2 games. They've got the type of team that can do that. They have experience.
Yeah.
They have balanced scoring, and they have a great goaltender who can steal games. And the goaltender thing can be said the same thing about Price. But if I'm going to put my money down or a beer down on a team, I'm going Boston because they're more playoff tested. And when you have guys like Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci, and Zdeno Chara, their leadership is going to be able to. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it could happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if Boston swept 2 from Montreal. And I hate Boston. I hate Montreal too.
I hate all those teams.
I guess the other series is...
There's another series?
Yeah, New York, Pittsburgh. In kind of the... I don't know. I don't really care about that series.
Yeah, this is a San Antonio-Portland matchup right here.
I don't even think it's that.
Oof.
I think it's like a...
Should we just say Pittsburgh wins?
Well, no.
Ooh.
Not necessarily. I'm not...
This is where we deviate then.
If Crosby can get it going, then Pittsburgh will win. But Crosby has not played very well. Like he's done a lot. He's done a lot of grinder work, if you will. He's finished his checks. He's got his chances. But he hasn't been able to bury them. If he can get scoring again, then Pittsburgh wins hands down.
Mm-hmm.
But the longer the Rangers stick around,
the more difficult it's going to be.
More doubt, creeps in the Crosby mind because. Remember 2 years ago, the Rangers almost made it to the Stanley Cup because they blocked every shot that came their way.
Yep.
You have a world-class goalie, like you said, in Henrik Lundqvist, and you have scorers that aren't scoring right now too in St. Louis, Richards, and Rick Nash. So if one of them gets it going, steals a game here or there, they already stole game 1.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Pittsburgh. I think it's Pittsburgh.
I do think Pittsburgh will win, but I think it's going to be the longer the Rangers hang around,
the more dangerous they're going to be.
The more dangerous they will be because if I'm going to take a game 7, and you're going to say you have a choice of goalie between Marc-Andre Fleury or King Henrik, I'm picking King Henrik.
Yeah. No, I
know Crosby's on. Crosby and Fleury are a package deal, but Henrik Lundqvist is one of the best goalies in the world, if not the.
I can't disagree, but I think Pittsburgh, Boston.
No, yeah, like I said, I agree
Chicago.
with you. I agree with you. I'm just making the case for New York.
Oh yeah.
You said you just kind of tried to sweep New York under the rug. It's not going to be that easy, especially with Crosby not playing very well offensively.
Yeah.
So that covers the NHL playoff. Our quick jaunt through the NHL playoffs, and that's our quick pod. Well, I wouldn't say quick podcast because it's been almost about 35 minutes. Let's get into our high fives and face bombs.
Yeah. Want to go first?
Oh, do you want to go like one each?
You want to start with the fails and off on a good note?
Well, I don't have any fails. I
have a fail, so I'll go first.
Okay. It's an important fail too.
It is. Actually, it just kind of relates to what we were just talking about in hockey. I'm going the old fan win high fives and face bombs this week, and my fail for the week goes to Boston for being racist shitheads.
Language.
Well, I'm kidding.
But, they deserved it.
Yeah. After PK Subban won the game winner in game 1 was it?
Game 1, yeah, it was after game 1.
Twitter in the Boston area just blew up with hashtag, like, don't want to say it on the air, but not the air, but on the mic, but.
No, yeah, you definitely don't want to say it.
Just despicable, especially when PK's brother actually plays for their farm team. It makes it even more ridiculous. Like, are you that ignorant? Like, Boston, especially with after the Red Sox and Big Papi coming out and you support your black athletes and then you do this? Ridiculous. And I guess I'll go by win for the week. Our high five goes to the fans of Toronto and us Raptor fans, especially the ones standing outside the ACC in Jurassic Park, just being as loud and crazy as humanly possible. Even Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce after the series gave kudos to Toronto for just how crazy loud they were. So kudos to all the fans in Toronto for bringing, even the media, American media was taking a look at Jurassic Park and going, that's what a real fan. Or I guess getting to the Nets Twitter, who said this is what real fans are like, instead of New York's dead, silent stadium.
And that brings another point. Before I get on to mine, what kind of chant is Brooklyn?
So that's
Brooklyn.
Terrible.
I mean, that doesn't make. That's what
That's you 10.
But you just remember Daryl. I mean, that's what you did to to chirp somebody. When did that become sort of I'm cheering for my team, Brooklyn. I don't know. Also, I'm not a fan of the name Jurassic Park.
I like it.
Yeah.
What else would you call it? It makes sense. Raptors.
No, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. But yeah, no, I was kind of partial to Red Square.
I like Jurassic Park.
Yeah. I'm going to go off your. I'm going to kind of piggyback off you in a sense. But I'm just going to finish it up because you didn't watch it. I was watching the game on ABC as opposed to listening to Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong.
That's probably why we lost.
Why? Because I watched it on TSN? Because I watched it on ABC?
Yes.
No, that's far from the reason we lost, as evidenced by my rants earlier. And Bill Simmons, Jalen Rose, I forget the coach's name, Doug something.
Oh.
And Michelle Beadle, who were the panel, were all just kind of amazed, and they said they'd never seen anything like it. Bill Simmons and Jalen Rose compared it to Khaleesi in Game of Thrones, rallying the troops with one of her speeches. So I guess Ujiri would have been Khaleesi?
I don't want to picture that, especially since I'm about to watch Game of Thrones.
It's in your head now, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
oh,
there you go.
You're naked.
You took it too far. So yeah, good job by Well, obviously, good job by the Toronto Raptor fans. I'm going to stick with my ABC for my. I have 2 high fives again. I don't feel the need to be. I've already been a negative enough in this. So my first one is going to go to Mike Tirico for rapping during the broadcast, where it was last name Graham, first name Aubrey. Drake is what the kids call me, is what he said when they showed a picture. When they showed they got a shot of Drake in this obviously in the stands, but he said he tried it out on his kid, and his kid said, "Don't ever do that on air, Dad." But he did it on air, and he said, and he the best part about it was he apologized right after he did it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry I did that. My son and I kind of worked it out." And then my son said never do it on air. But he's at a soccer game now, so he probably won't hear it anyway. So just a bit of light humor there in a terrible, stressful time for me. That about covers it for the podcast, I would say. As we wrapped up after the face palms and high fives and face palms.
Face palms, yeah.
Did I say face palms and face palms?
I'm not sure. You kind of just slurred it into a mix of words there.
That sounds like me. So yeah, thank you for listening to the podcast. Sean will have his mock draft up, I hope, before the actual draft.
Oh, for the love of God, yes.
Today or tomorrow, right?
If not, I just went half-assed. I got the picks. I'm just writing out the explanations.
Okay, so Monday or Tuesday. So if you're listening to this on Tuesday, hopefully it's up today. I'm still kicking around. You can check out my weekly column or my twice weekly column at newsoptimist.ca. I'm the bench warmer. That's the name that we came up with.
That's a good name.
Yeah, I thought it made sense. So, thank you for listening. Follow us on Twitter, Sport by Schmucks. Like us here on YouTube. Subscribe to us. We got PS4 content coming out now, so that's fun.
Yeah.
And we'll be the shows out.
I can record my own PS4 podcast now or stuff now.
And we'll be the shows out.
In about 12 hours. Yeah, I can't wait.
This will probably be up on Tuesday, so I'm gonna be the shows out.
Are you getting it?
Of course I'm getting it.
Oh yeah, let's create some season stuff.
Yeah, but then I have to buy PS Plus.
Just do it. You get free games.
No! Oh, free games
I'll
maybe.
send you $15.
15 or 50?
15.
Make it the full year and we got a deal.
I'm not giving you the full year. I didn't pay for myself.
Oh. Okay.
PlayStation. Yeah, good thing I work at Best Buy.
Womp womp. Okay, so now, like us on all those social media things. Like we said during the podcast, if you want us to talk about something, let us know in the comments. Hit us up on Twitter. Send us an email. Send Sean go into Best Buy and look for Sean at the Ancaster Best Buy and say, you should talk about this.
Wow. Just throwing out where I work there, too.
Well, you know.
That's true. Who's going to come harass me?
More people are going to harass you at work than me at work.
That's true.
Because at least I have a front office that can say, no, I'm not available.
Screen your people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that about does it. Thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of the playoffs. We're not talking about baseball because we are too negative about the Blue Jays. Take care, guys.